Hi everyone, it's Rebecca here, and I wanted to record a video today to share with you. And this is for all the carers out there. Recently I've had some deeply moving and heartfelt conversations with some parents, a number of different parents who feel completely lost in and panicked actually in knowing what to do and how to care for their loved one, their daughters in this case. And it breaks my heart, and I can feel emotion now just actually beginning to talk about this, because goodness me, in hearing them talk, it takes me right back to what it was like when Bea was ill. So I thought it would be useful to put some thoughts out there which hopefully will help you in how to care for your loved one. But most importantly, this is about how to care for yourself. And I think that's something that we so easily neglect. And that's what I kind of want to focus on here in this video today. And the first thing I want to say to you is hang on in there, I know how tough this is. I truly know how tough this is. And when I've been having conversations, I can feel the anxiety coming through from the people that I've been speaking to, the speed with which they speak, almost kind of begging for answers. Tell me how, tell me how, tell me how. And what I want to say is just, if you can just see yourself getting completely caught up and, you know, it's almost like up in your head so intensely, just see if you can find something within you that helps you just bring it down a notch, just to quieten your mind as best you can. And I know how difficult that is going to feel, and kind of you may even say that that feels impossible to do. But just think about it for a moment. When we're caught up in anxiety and stress, we have no clear vision, or we don't think straight, do we? And it's exactly the same that's going on here. When we're in that state of panic, it's a bit like, you know, I often say it's a bit like a rabbit in the headlights. You know, it's like, oh, I just don't know what to do, and I'm panicked and so stressed and so much noise in my head. And it's only in the calming down, in the taking a breath, that actually we can feel, maybe just to get a moment, a glimpse of, oh, I'm caught up. The upside of that, if you like, is that that really helps you get an idea of what it's like for the person that you're caring for, because they are totally in that state, completely and utterly caught up in the thinking that looks real to them. So that's the first thing I would love for you to just, if you can, get a glimpse of that, but also just to say, hang on in there, because I know what it's like, and I know also that you can come through this. And carrying on from that, the important thing here, and this is something that I'm sharing because it's something that I wasn't very good at doing myself. And I love the phrase, you can't pour from an empty cup. And this is so true, so true. And you might even be saying, yeah, but how do I help my, you know, I need to be able to help my loved one. And actually, we've got to look at you first, okay? You can't pour from an empty cup. It's so true. And I know that I was depleting myself on a daily basis, running on empty all the time, unable to help as effectively as I would have liked, because I was completely spent myself. And you'll have heard it 100 times before, and you'll hear it in different videos or blogs that we've written about what happens when you're on the plane before you take off, and the stewards are telling us, you know, going through all of the safety instructions, and they say if there's a drop in cabin pressure, that oxygen masks will fall from the ceiling and to put your own on before you help anybody else with theirs. And you know what? We don't do that in life, do we? And yet if we are out of oxygen, metaphorically, then we're no use to anybody. So it's really key that you look after yourself and your state of mind and your physical and mental well-being, because you are not going to be able to offer the help and support and love that you want to if you're not full yourself, if that makes sense. And it's going to look different for all of us. So I'm not here to give you a list of, oh, do this and do that and meditate and do yoga and go for walks, and because it's going to look completely different for all of us. But just know those things that always leave you feeling replenished, look at doing those again, okay? You'll know what they are. And I bet that you'll feel guilty as well. And that's completely normal. Just push that one aside, because looking after ourselves is so important. And also the thing that's going on here that's subliminal, but in you looking after yourself, you're subconsciously giving that person that you're caring for permission to even consider that it's okay to do the same. And I hadn't appreciated that and how important that was. So in me looking after myself, I was giving B permission that it was good to look after herself too. One of the things that a very dear friend said to me, which made me cry my eyes out when she said it to me, was take exquisite care of yourself. And it was such a her thing to say. And I just see the truth in this. It's like treating ourselves like we're some precious ornament, if you like, that we've got, that's maybe come down through the family, or I don't know, whatever it might be. Not even sure why I shared it in that way, but taking exquisite care of yourself. So add that in, and maybe use words that make sense to you, but that looking after yourself completely and utterly, nourishing yourself. And that's nourishing your body, nourishing your mind, nourishing your spirit as well. That's so important. And I know for me, you know, I lived in southwest London when Bea was ill, and I would always take myself down to the river because there was always something about being by the water that really helped me. Or going into the park, into the woods, seeing the trees, being in nature. There's something for me that was replenishing in that. But again, as I say, it's going to be different for all of us. So another thing that I heard recently from a mentor of mine, a wonderful thing that he said, and he talked about speaking to the person behind the mask, and eventually the person behind the mask will respond. And I love that, because we know that what our loved one is experiencing isn't who they are. Even though they're saying, this is me, there's nothing else of me, this is completely me. We know that it's not true. We know that they are behind what this mentor called behind the mask. And I love that, because there were times I know that I felt the need to engage with the anorexia and actually even point my finger at it and say, I'm not scared of you. But I'm very aware now that most of the time I was talking to Bea, who was behind that mask. And maybe you're already doing this, or maybe you find that you so easily get caught up in the eating disorder itself and trying to reason with the eating disorder, or reason or get frustrated and shout and scream, and all of that is completely normal. We've all done that. We've all been there. But the more that you can speak to the person who's behind the mask, the person that actually has health, okay, the more you can do that and ignore almost the machinations of the eating disorder, not getting involved and sucked into that. Because trust me, the eating disorder thrives on conflict, absolutely thrives on it. So the more you get involved in it, the bigger it becomes. And there's no judgment here at all, because innocently we're doing what we think is right to help and support our loved one. But I'd love you to, if you can, more and more to speak to the person who's behind the behaviours and see what comes of that. And I know that when I'm working with clients, and Bee's working with clients, that's exactly what we're doing. We call it, we're going upstream. We're not focusing on the minutiae and the detail in the eating disorder, because again, that's just giving more oxygen to it. But we're talking to the health that is behind that mask. And I'd love you to take a look at that and see if that's possible for you. And then two other things that I want to share. And one of them is to feel whatever you feel. There's no right or wrong feelings. There's no having to be strong and not show and express what we're feeling. And yeah, of course, the more that you can do that, and maybe even, I used to go up and shut the door in my bedroom and cry into my pillow and just let out all of that emotion that I was feeling. And there are times that I would say to Bee, I don't know what to say, I'm so frustrated and so angry, and not with you, but with the eating disorder. And then don't be afraid to find joy in your life as well, because we can so easily be dragged down by the eating disorder that it just becomes our life and everything is then squashed down. It's so important that the eating disorder is there, it's in residence in your home right now, but it doesn't have to be everything. So it's really important that you allow yourself to feel everything, whatever it is that you're feeling. And then finally, the one thing I just want, I see myself here as being your cheerleader right now, but I want you to know that you're a superhero right now, okay? You absolutely are. And there's no need for you to go out to prove yourself as a superhero, because you are one. Because you're doing something that is not what we are usually expected to do. And that's to battle with this eating disorder and to care for somebody who is so ill right now. And I want you to know that you're doing your absolute best. And it's only in hindsight, really, that I appreciate just how amazing I was in that time as well. And we're not very good, are we, at kind of praising ourselves. But I do want you to see that you are doing an amazing job right now. You are a superhero. And kind of coming back full circle to just to trust, hang in there. And we know, and if you've hung out with us at all, you'll know that we always share that recovery is possible. And that is for every single one of those that are struggling right now. So I hope you found that helpful, and that it's given you a bit of hope. Please don't hesitate to come back to us. Drop us an email. All the links are below this video. And we'd also love you to subscribe as well, if that's good for you, because then you'll get notification of all of our new videos. So I'll speak to you again soon. Bye for now.